join us now to look ahead to the final. Live from Portugal, former Spurs and Chelsea's Glenn Hoddle. Morning, Glenn.
Morning, Glenn.
Good morning, guys.
Oh, Glenn, what a game we've got here. I reckon, Glenn, maybe you're in the Chelsea camp with your association with them, but at the same time, Glenn, I'm pretty certain you admire the way City play.
No, of course, yeah. I think they're the best team in the world, actually. There's no doubt about that. I don't think there's any international team that would beat Manchester City at the moment. When they play at their very, very best out, there's nothing better to watch. I really feel that. But, this is why it's so balanced, isn't it? And so exciting, this game, because Chelsea have, in doing them twice now, it's probably 60-40 towards City at the moment. I think now if City turn up and play their sort of 9 out of 10, they haven't played their strongest team in the last couple of fixtures against Chelsea. Obviously, Saturday it will be.
Yeah.
If they turn up like that, then I think Chelsea have got it all to do. But they'll fancy their chances because of the way they counter on them, Chelsea. Because I think the key to it, in my eyes, is Chelsea to win it has got to go 1-0 up.
Yeah.
We always say in first goal important in a final, but more so for Chelsea than anyone against City. I can't see Chelsea coming back. They don't do it that well.
No, 100%.
Yeah, so I think that's the key to the whole game, and it's probably more balanced than you think, actually, because of Tuchel's got something over Pep. It's 6 times he hasn't beaten him. All them sort of things, you get a good feel in your camp when that's a vibe,
Glenn, if you're Pep, do you look at Aguero? He's going into the game in great form. 2 goals against Everton. Last game for Manchester City. Could go out on a high, could get the winning goal. Do you start him, or do you think he's an asset off the bench last half an hour?
I think he's an asset off the bench. I think it depends on how this game's going and what a player to bring on if you do. He's done it before so many times. He scored in his last Premier League goals, at the weekend. I don't see him starting. I think he likes the fact that this non-sort of centre-forward position is working for him. When they're all fit and when they're all firing on cylinders, it's a very difficult system to play against. Especially as Chelsea got 3 at the back there. Sometimes they're going to be isolated and think, I've got no one to pick up here. So you're going to be outnumbered somewhere else. It's a tough sort of formation to play against. It really is. But I don't think that'll worry Chelsea too much, Ray. I think they'll just look to soak up the pressure and hit on the counter.
Glenn, just talking about the last 2 results where Chelsea have beaten Manchester City, going back a couple of years, 10 of the squad for Chelsea were in the side that got beat 6-0 at the Etihad, and 6 probably will start against a team, Manchester City team. Do you think that could have some kind of bearing on their mentality going into the game, because they got absolutely walloped in that game?
Yeah, I don't think that one's going to stick in their mind. I think there's 2 key elements to me. One, recently they've been off the boil. They lost in the final. They got upset against Villa as well there. So I don't think everything's hunky-dory in result-wise recently. But Spurs did them a favour. They ended up in the top 4. I think that's a massive key to Chelsea at this moment in time, and that group of players. They've parked that. They're already in the Champions League again. If they'd have fallen just out of that would have been a crushing blow for them, and there'd have been more pressure on them in this game. I think Chelsea mentally will fancy this. I think they've had a good week to prepare. They would have dusted themselves down, and Tuchel would get them back on this vibe of, we can beat this team. We've done it before. Let's go and do it again.
Hod, you're the man. You're the Chelsea manager, about to send them out, and you think of where they're really dangerous. I know they're dangerous all over City, but on the right, Mahrez has been brilliant. Foden's a revelation on the left. What do you do about that? Do you make sure you stop the supply to them? How do you do it?
Well, I think they'll try and close all them spaces, what they did before at Wembley and in the league game. They won't come out, and they'll be very shrewd in the way that they attack, so that they can defend. I think they'll always have that midfield. They won't empty that midfield. Whoever's in there. That's why I think probably Jorginho are playing there, sitting there with Conte if he's fit. It's closing them spaces down and not letting them get in behind them is the key. And it's a tough thing to do against Chelsea when they're at their very best. That back three has got a lot of experience and they don't get stretched. The centre backs don't get torn, stretched right out in wide positions. So you've got to be cute, and City like to play that way. So I think it's about condensing the space, getting the distance right, completely right, every single time City pick up the ball, and then looking with one eye on just getting out and who's going to get forward, who's going to break, Mount and players like that, whoever's playing, Pulisic if he's playing, they've got the pace then to counter.
It's great to see young English talent, Glenn. Phil Foden, obviously, for Manchester City. Mason Mount, we've had his father on earlier. A very proud man. He'll be flying out to Porto later today. And, they've had great seasons, haven't they? And it's great that watching these young players develop. And I'm sure Gareth Southgate is delighted with the squad he's got going into this Euros in the summer. Well, next month, sorry.
Well, isn't it fantastic? Two English players, and it's going to be the Battle of England, really, for these two kids in a cup final, European Cup final, Champions League, call it what you want. It's wonderful experience for them. The problem for Gareth, in a way, obviously, keep your fingers crossed that they both come through injury-free, but also one's going to be on cloud nine, and one is going to have to pick up. And that's there's going to be a winner and a loser out of them two. And they both deserve a winning medal in many ways because they're so young, they're so good. And it's a bright future for England, as you say, Ray. But mentally, once this finishes, this is what the life of a footballer. They've got to switch into a big tournament in the Euros. But one of them's going to need picking up. There's no doubt about that, whoever loses. And it's strange, though, isn't it? One minute they're kicking lumps out of each other and trying to beat each other. And then your teammates and you're the best mates and you're on the bus. So good luck to them as well. But it's wonderful to see two young English players like that perform. Creative players as well. They've got so much creation in there. If they were German, Spanish, we'd be purring even more over them.
Well, we are.
We respect them. That's what I think. We've got a group of players that can cast a bit of fear in other teams at international level, and we don't take that into consideration sometimes when it's our own team.
Talking about creativity, Glenn, there's been speculation broke this morning that Jack Grealish could be on his way to Manchester City. Is that a good fit for you?
Well, I did hear that myself a few weeks ago, and I thought Pep planted him quite strongly. Yeah. I think it's a good fit for him personally. Yes, he'll and for City. I mean, the way they play, I think Pep might get him playing a little bit earlier, a bit quicker, a bit sharper, playing within 2 and 3 touches. Perhaps he won't like that as much, but he'll adjust. He's got that talent. But what he has got, he's got that ability in and around the penalty area. And my word, if there's any team, City get in those positions more than anyone. So yeah, I think that'd be a good fit. It'd be a sad one for Villa fans, but I think that was probably always going to be on the cards at some stage. Him going once he signed that 5-year contract, I felt it wasn't for him to stay there 5 years. It was for Villa to get a very top price for him.
Yeah, Glenn, big story today. Poch could be coming back to Tottenham. Now, it might seem ridiculous, over in Paris, but I think the family is still here, and I keep hearing about it. So do you think that could happen? If it does, Glenn, is it a good fit again, Poch coming back?
Well, it's difficult. It's a real difficult one, that one. I mean, will Daniel Levy, say, look, I made a big mistake? That's a big call for him to do that. Poch really hasn't done well over there. You're expected to win. If you're Paris Saint-Germain manager, you're expected to win the league. That's a given. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, whether that will materialise.
I just wonder, Glenn, if it is true, I'm trying to think of Harry. I spoke to a couple of the guys over the week, ex-players, who are adamant Harry's going nowhere, Glenn. And I just wonder if Poch was coming back, could that maybe just persuade Harry to stay?
Well, I think it would be helpful in many ways, but is that the right thing to bring a manager back just because you're going to save a star player? I'm not sure that's anything for to build for the future in many ways. Yes, I do agree. I think Harry Kane's with if there was 1 year or 2 years left, but with 3 years left on your contract, that's going to be a difficult deal to go anywhere. As much as Harry wants to leave, and he's done an unbelievable job and I understand fully where his mind is. But that's not going to be to be outplayed that easily, that deal. But it could be that. Al, you could be right. Poch coming in back for those reasons. But there's a lot of ifs and buts for that deal to go through.
Now, Glenn, no pressure. But we have no Gallagher coming up in just a few moments' time, and that brings me on to England. I think you got a little treat for us.
'Cause we're England. 'Cause we're England. Yeah, we're England. All teams and colour joined as one. It's about that time.
Well, there we go. That's 'Cause We're England by Glenn Hoddle, and it's out today. Could this be England's anthem for the Summer Euros, Glenn Hoddle?
Well, you've thrown me there because I thought you were talking about the other one, Al.
Well, there's a couple, isn't there? I've left it to the recording boys, but listen, it's catchy. We're going to play the other one as well, by the way. But tell me, so you've been up in Bob Patmore's studios?
Yeah, well, to be honest, mate, this is all off the back of the Masked Singer, really. I went on the Masked Singer.
Yes,
great
very
fun.
good.
You know, Al, we used to sing in the back of the bus, didn't we? All of us. We used to love our music as you do.
Down there, going to Newmarket races, giving it a bit of Hall & Oates and Eagles. Yes, I remember it well.
Yeah, coming back after a defeat normally. So yeah, we had a laugh, and I've always loved my music. So when I did this Masked Singer, and then after, everyone kept saying, "You got to do this, you got to do some." So, and I thought, what after happened to me a few years back now, I thought, sorry, I'm going to have a go. Enjoy doing things that I want to do, have some fun, and I've absolutely had a ball. Went up to Bob's place in the near Beaconsfield, and he's got a lovely studio there.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, you've been there, haven't you?
Helicopter in the garden.
Glenn, I always thought Alan was a Viking. I thought you was in that Masked Singer. Everybody was saying you were a Viking at one stage.
No.
We never got to meet any of the contestants, but I'm with you there, Ray. I thought it was the shape, wasn't it? It was the shape of the costume.
Oh, dear.
Glenn, just a quick one. Obviously, Gareth's got a very difficult job to do. He's got to drop 7 players from that squad. You famously dropped Gaza from the squad for that tournament. How difficult is that for a manager to do?
Yeah, it's always a difficult one. It's not the hardest one in your life. Certainly in mine, it wasn't as a manager, letting young kids go at 18, telling them they're not good enough. Once you've had to do that, Trev, nothing's harder than that. So that's the experience you get as you go through the ranks as a manager. But no, it's sad. Gazza's was a real sad decision, actually. He played in the qualifiers. He wasn't fit for about 5 months. I'd had chats after chats. Get fit, get yourself fit. This is a World Cup. And in the end, he got clobbered out in Morocco, and I didn't take him because of injury. But at the time, people didn't want to hear that. They wanted to make it a sensation. But no, Gareth's not going to like what he's going to have to do, but he's going to have to do it. And
just off the back of that, Glenn. Just off the back of that, obviously Jordan Henderson's been injured for quite a while.
Yeah,
he might be getting close to fitness now. Is that a risk worth taking, or is that a risk that you would take with him being such a leader in that group, especially with Harry Maguire maybe not being available?
It's a very difficult one, that, because I'm not sure he's going to have anywhere near enough football to have this couple of friendlies. He's going to have to play in both them friendly matches and play at top. But then also you've got to be bedding down the team that you want to start. Yeah. He's not going to start. Probably Rice, and if Phillips fit, I don't know. I was at Leeds when he went over on his shoulder. I felt for Gareth. I thought my first thought was, oh my word, Gareth would be, and then every time a player goes down, Rashford went down the other day, you're thinking, oh dear, I was in them shoes. It's horrible. But once they get over the line, I'm not so sure. I think it's a difficult one. He might look at him at training. I remember giving Darren Anderton as much time as I could to get him fit, and he just got over the line, just had enough football. I think it's going to be like that with Henderson, but he can't plan too much to play him because he's got to prepare his team he's going to start.
Exactly.
Glenn, I know you're very busy today. One last one. Would this be too adventurous for Gareth to play Rice Holding, Foden, Mason Mount and Jack Grealish? Is that too adventurous?
It probably is. I don't think we get the better. The reason that being, not because it's being bland or anything. I think if you're going to have 3 at the back, if you've got a three at the back, then you might get away with just having one holding-ish player. Listen, Rice and Phillips, they're not holding players. They'll play in the deeper areas, but they're good passers of the ball, and they're coming on as players. They're not like a defensive. Well, he can't use the ball. We can't go through him when we've got the ball, but he'll just defend. Those two are better than that. But I think if you go with three at the back and you're securing yourself up a little bit that way, when the opponent's got the ball, then you might get away with 2 8s if you like. I don't see Mount as one in that one player in the two deep players positions. That's not his best position, and I don't think he understands that position at times. So I think you're better off getting him as an 8 and another 8, Foden or Grealish, something slightly different to what. But you can only do that if you're getting that 3 at the back and wing backs.
Yeah,
and I don't know whether he'll go that way. I think he might have to because of the defensive, maybe a little bit of frailties that we might have if Maguire isn't fit.
Yeah. Brilliant, Glenn. Listen, have a great time out there. It's going to be a great game. Hopefully we'll see a few goals as well, and we'll play that song again.
Thanks, Glenn.
Glenn, brilliant. Thank you.
Guys.
Cheers,
have a good
pal.
day. Cheers, mate.